This is why I love hip hop. This is why I love hip hop. If you ask me this question, why do I love hip hop? I'm going to explain that answer later. Welcome to the Poly Rob Podcast. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and all the information on how to support my channel is down at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? The debunk is in. The results are in about whether Jay-Z had fake dreads or not. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z and Beyonce dropped a video with the actual hair care products that they've been using for Jay-Z's hair. They dropped a 7-minute video called The Blueprint. And in this content, they explain the journey, the hair journey for Jay-Z, why he grew his hair, you know, how long he's been growing his hair, the reasons why, the deeper meaning of why he grew his hair, and the process that it took to actually take out his dreads into the fro. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't really care about whether, you know, he took out his dreads or not. I mean, that's Jay-Z, that's Hove. But after watching the short little docuseries, I must say it was very well put together. You can try to deny whether they just pieced together footage or not just to make a narrative, but no, it looks really in detail. You know, Beyonce is narrating the whole thing, you know, which you don't often see all the time. Her narrating something that's not about her particularly. It's about her husband. It's about her family. I love that. I love that. So everybody who was saying Jay-Z didn't have real hair and it was, you know, a sew-in or it was implants, all that type of stuff, that's over now. That's over. Just put that to bed. It's done. But I love the reasons why he decided to grow his hair. So it stemmed from when he was growing his hair. At that time, Blue Ivy was growing. I think she was probably 3 or 4 or something like that. It was 8 years ago from now. You know what I mean? And in that time, Beyonce was saying that Blue Ivy at the time didn't really like her hair, or she would express, or she would, you know, do certain things that kind of insinuated that she didn't like how her hair looked. You know what I mean? Just that young, she's noticing certain things about herself and her hair, and then probably the hair of little girls that she's seen around her. You know what I mean? I can understand that. So Jay-Z said he started growing his hair because he didn't want his daughter, Blue Ivy, the only child at the time, he didn't want his daughter to feel out of place. So he was like, I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to grow my fro. I'm going to grow bigger than the fro. I'm going to grow the dreads. And he established a great connection with Blue Ivy just because of that. Made her feel more confident. And as Beyonce is talking about this story, you're seeing pictures and video of Blue Ivy growing up. So this is kind of like the first time that we see pictures every now and then, but we got a chance to actually see Blue Ivy, like videos of her growing up, and, you know, her hair in a bun, her hair in an afro, you know, her hair, getting her hair done. Like, we're seeing these videos in real time, which is very, very rare for Jay-Z and Beyonce to show so much content of their kids, let alone, of course, Blue Ivy. I know she's older now and she's doing concerts and things like that, but you remember in that time, you know, if you can think that far, you know, they were very private with Blue Ivy. They didn't want to show a lot of pictures. You know, sometimes certain pictures wouldn't even show her face. It'll just show her in action or laying down, or it wasn't a lot of photos. It wasn't a lot of videos. It wasn't a lot of that stuff, but they made it their point to show this journey. And as they're showing Blue Ivy and her growing up in her hair transformations, they're showing Jay-Z in his hair transformations of growing it from the fro, then the twist with the fro, then the short locks, then the long locks, then, he in his full concert bag with the full locks, and they show a little scenes of him with the fade just to kind of contrast. Like that was dope. He did it because he didn't want his child to feel out of place. I respect that. I agree with that. Then when it comes to, the Roots picnic and Jay-Z going to the fro, they had another story based on that take. Before I say that, people who've had hair, I've been on my hair journey. I've had, braids in high school. I've also I started from a bald head with sideburns. Like one day I'm gonna show y'all those pictures. But I've grew and cut my hair, I would say 3 times in my lifetime. Where when I was born, I had long hair. My mom cut it when I was probably like about 5 or 6. Then when I was in high school, I grew my hair all the way out. It was down my back. And then I had braids and the big fro and everything. And then I cut that at a certain time when I started like really working at like my last job I ever worked at, which was Fry's Electronics. And then like 11 years ago, I started growing my dreads. You know what I mean? I had dreads. I had long dreads coming all the way down. Like, y'all, if you see me a couple years ago, you know. And I cut my dreads probably like about 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3 years ago. And now I have the bald head. So I've been on my hair journey, but I'm saying that to say, if you've ever been on this hair journey, especially with dreads, you understand the energy that it connects with, the memories, the energy, the vibes. Hair carries a lot of our story. You know what I mean? It carries a lot of our being, who we are. And although I have a bald head now, I kid you not, I can still feel my dreads. I actually have my dreads. When I cut them, I put them in a frame, for me to put it on the wall. So my dreads are in a frame on the wall. So, but I still feel them. And they were talking about that in the documentary in terms of like the energy that comes with the dreads, the energy that comes with hair, things like that. And the type of transformations you go through, spiritually and mentally, you know what I mean? And so on so many levels. So I like that element. Then when it comes to the Roots picnic, for all of us, when we first see Jay-Z come out and he got the fro, the first thing we thought was like, yo, was that Questlove? Was that Questlove? That can't be Questlove. He got that slim? I mean, not saying he's super big, but I'm just saying. We didn't realize that was Jay-Z until he kind of fully stepped out and we heard his voice and he doing his thing. Just looking at the clips on the videos on YouTube. And then for people who was there at the Roots picnic, I'm pretty sure they was looking like, okay, is that really Jay-Z or what? So Beyonce explains the second part, which is the reason why he wanted to take out the dreads and do the fro. Now, she explained that Jay-Z's dad, which is, I believe his name is Agnes Reeves. We've heard that name, on, countless songs and albums, you know what I mean? And shout out to Jay-Z for, forgiving his dad for not being there, and then the whole storyline of just kind of reconciling and things like that. I think that's a great thing, you know what I'm saying? And I think that did a lot for Jay-Z, but we're not here to talk about him and his dad. But the reason he came out with the fro, because his dad used to rock the fro. His dad used to come out with the fro, you know what I'm saying? And that was his vibe. So he wanted to comb out the dreads into a fro so he could come out at the Roots picnic with the fro. And, once again, on top of the lyrics, Jay-Z with the double entendre. Not only is he coming out with his own roots, his own hair roots at the Roots picnic, he's also referencing the reason why he's doing it is for his family roots, which is his dad. You know what I mean? Combining his dad with growing a fro, Jay-Z on his hair journey having a fro, but also the reason why he's growing his hair is because Blue Ivy, was uncomfortable with her hair, so he's growing his hair because of Blue Ivy. The family roots picnic. Come on, man. What we talking about? Even when he not rapping, he rapping. Even when he not rapping, he rapping. That's another reason why I know Jay-Z is dropping a new album, but neither here nor there. We're talking about his hair right now. I think that was very, very great that he did that in honor of his father. His father is no longer living, so rest in peace to him. Salute to the Carter family. And overall, I do want to say that we need more stories like these. We need more stories where we could actually, kind of get a little bit of someone's life on their journey through what they've been going through their career. I think that's very heartfelt. It's not necessary, but it's definitely a bonus, and we love y'all for it when you guys do that. Not just Beyonce, not just Jay-Z, but all artists. When we get these insights from Nas, AZ, Wu-Tang, Ice Cube, Too Short, E40. Snoop Dogg, I believe Snoop Dogg has a documentary coming. When we get these little tidbits and information and series and, think pieces from our artists, it just lets us know how much more connected we are to you. And we thank you for that. Yes, we spend our time being fans. Yes, we spend our time being creators that create with these exceptional artists. But also, it gives us an insight of like, okay, what have you been going through for the past couple of years or past couple of months or before this album dropped or when you got off tour? We appreciate those things. And it's definitely needed in the culture because there's a lot of other fluff going on in the culture, and we need these little small pieces of content and these meaningful pieces of content to continue to exist in our hip hop culture. And we thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? Leave it in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about Jay-Z's hair journey. Do you like it? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like he should keep the fro, or do you feel like he should go to the fade, which will complete the complete cycle of Jay-Z's hair journey? You know what I'm saying? Once he go to the fade, once he go to the uptown, that's it. Album is here. Just remember I said that. I'm sorry. I keep saying that, but it's real. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I appreciate y'all. WORKLOAD.